We have our one and only Mr. Cosiamo Peter, who's joined us here, and welcome. You're speaking from the US or Italy now?
I'm in Italy, and
You're in Italy.
yes, I'm in Italy now, and I'm very sorry because I couldn't find the link to join. So, but I'm here now, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you. And this is a
Great,
very
great.
exciting morning for me. So I'm
Done.
in Italy, so it's 5:30 in the morning here. It's
Oh, great.
dark, and I'm sitting in a very beautiful villa in front of the sea, in front of the ocean. So,
Wonderful, wonderful. All
so
right,
it's
10 to
nice
the
to be
2.
here.
Mr. Peter is here, Madam Pat is here, Mr. Gurvinder all set, and Madam Nifita is here. Mr. Gurvinder, let's go.
Okay,
Good
let's
morning
go.
to all of you. It's 10:02, and I welcome each of you to the ISTD-IFTDO outreach number 10. I welcome all the ISTD members, students, and the IFTDO members, especially our speaker of the day, Kosama Bebuso, Madam Patty Phillips, the IFTDO chairperson, our national president, Mr. Atul Shah, and the coordinator of the program, Ms. Nivita Mirajkar. To start with the program, I request Madam Phillips to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here for another ISTD-IFTDO outreach. I am thrilled about today's,
Today.
wherever we are, right? Today's speaker and the topic, but just
Yeah,
really excited, Kaziyama, that you're the speaker for today. So, but thank you all for another outreach, and Atul, thank you for your efforts, and just really looking forward to this.
Thank you, Patty. Now I request our national president, Mr. Atul Shah, to say something about the program.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Gurvinder, just give a call to Dr. Vinay Sheth. Is having a little bit of an issue joining in. We are at the 10th outreach episode. I remember that old quote of Lao Tzu that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but that's cliched. But a journey of 1,000 learnings begins with a single training. And that is one journey. When we started off, we were not very sure how far we could go. But there was somebody who mentioned, how will you ever know if you never try? We've been reaching out to all our members across all our 54 chapters and making sure that each grassroots member gets a chance to be part of this learning journey. In this voyage that we've had, we have covered themes and topics from marketing to core HR to chisel training to even lifestyle management. And for all this, we compliment all our members from across the country. And now, with for the last 5 episodes, IFTDO has been joining in. That adds a lot of shot in our arm. We thank Madam Patty Phillip for being very positive and proactive in supporting us. And whatever be the time of the day or the night, she's been there, and her presence actually rejuvenates and bolsters her up. We're all gung ho about the future. We've got a very eminent speaker today. My only grouse is that he's been copying my hairdo. All right.
Yes, it's where the
Yeah, only thing
Yeah,
is that he's
maybe
much
one of
better
you,
shaped,
maybe
you're
one
much
of
better
you
shaped
make
than
the
me.
hairdo a little bit, huh?
So it's great to have Mr. Kosiamo. Apart from everything else, is of course the executive director of IFTDO, but he's got a very he's got a very colorful and a distinguished career behind him. So we are very happy, and Madam Nivedita would introduce him to us. We are now on the threshold of our 11th. We are the cusp of our 11th, and we've been thinking that we could have more than just a talk. We could have a conference, an online conference calling the who's who of IFTDO and ISTD for an half-day online conference somewhere in December that we could think, and I would discuss with Madam Patty somewhere in the coming days. We thank also our senior members across the country. We have Bhagirath sir from Aurangabad who's just joined in, and we are extremely delighted that we have many of our PGP associates who are also here. And we would ensure that this learning journey that we have continues and everybody gets a chance to grow. We learn to share and we will share to learn. Thank you, Madam Patty, Thank you, Gurvinder, and thank you all our National Council members, our National OBA members. We have our National Treasurer, Mr. Pani here, our National Regional Vice President, Mr. Zakaria. We've got past National Presidents, right from Dr. Vineshal Gautam to Mr. Sunil Obriol, and in a sense, the who's who of our chapter chairpersons, our National Council members. And it's been an absolute delight bringing this program to people who are probably much better than us, who may not be even requiring the programs. But your commitment to growth, to learning, is inspiring. Thank you. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Gurvinder.
Thank you, sir. So finally, my job is done, and I hand over to Ms. Nivedita to introduce our speaker and start with the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruvinder. An absolute delight to introduce today's speaker, Kosiama Bawasu, who is an accomplished leadership trainer and motivational coach with extensive experience in enhancing managerial effectiveness and organizational performance. His programs emphasize self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership, enabling participants to lead with clarity and confidence. Through his structured and insightful approach, he has guided professionals across diverse sectors in developing impactful leadership capabilities and fostering high-performing teams. Over to you, Mr. Bawasu.
Wow, this is a great honor to be with all of you. And I'm very excited to be here. And I have many, many, many things to share. I was honored a few years ago to be nominated and receive the Distinguished Award for Professional Achievements from ISPI, the International Society for Performance Improvement, in the likes of Jack Phillips. So it was a big honor for me, and I didn't expect to receive this award from that organization, but I received it because I did one thing with ISPI, and that was to help bring the human into human performance, and that's all that I did. And it was just really about looking around to see that there were actually people in front of me and people in the room that were working on performance improvement, but we didn't see the people in performance. So anyway, I received this Gilbert Award for that. This was born from, yes, many years of work. I was blessed to work with the United States Marine Corps for 10 years as the leader of human performance in an organization that prides itself on human performance. This is the United States Marine Corps. From that was born something that I call the Smarter Castle, which used to be called the Human Performance Architecture Framework. So it was a very complicated idea, but it was really a simple idea for me to say that, well, how do we understand a person in their work environment? This is what we're doing here in instructional design, because that's what I was doing there. How do we understand a person in their environment without the other people that are in the environment? And that was really the idea. And it was so simple, but a little bit profound. Because in the Marine Corps, the Marine is the weapons system, right? In the Navy, it's a ship. In the Air Force, it's a plane. But in the Marine Corps, it's a person, a human being that's trying to accomplish something. So when we stepped back into this idea, it was, well, that person is not alone. He's with other people in relationship. So what we did was we defined a network of people that support a person in their work. And that's really what we do in instructional design, is we're trying to help a person, but we have to help the person in relationship to the other people that they are with. So anyway, from that was also born something that we call Rediscover You, these cards, which basically define the 34 characteristics of human beings that are positive. So smarter is really about being positive with other people. So smarter actually stands for strengths, meaning, accountability, relationships, trust, your eulogy, and your resume. So that's what smarter actually stands for. And I have some slides to share, which I will share now. So smarter is
Mr.
really
Peter,
is a
I'm going
metaphor.
to share this slide. Congratulations again for your award. I'd like to announce we have crossed a 200 figure after a very long time. So 200 people and more counting coming to Mr. Peter's talk. And we also have Simantani, our training head, Mr. Manish from Surat, Dr. Sanjay from Mangalore, Dr. Gunmala from Chandigarh, Mr. Paras from Rajkot, Mr. Sukrit Shom, whom we met at Kolkata, Mr. Ashok Deshpandu and Nasik, apart from all our other luminaries waiting to hear Mr. Peter. Over to you.
Thank you, Atul. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what I'm just calling smarter leadership. And I did weave in a little bit of artificial intelligence here because it's important to understand that none of us are smart alone. We're smarter together. So my mission is called Umaniamo. So I have this very snappy t-shirt. Umaniamo means we're human together or not at all. But we're smarter together or not at all. So actually being together with all of you makes us smarter just by being together. So these slides are something that I presented to the IFTDO, ISPI people a few years ago at their conference. But anyway, if we think back into our early tradition, and I have a very good friend whose mother translates the Native American language into English. And if we think back for thousands of years, because you have a very old culture, just like where I am sitting right now, we pass things down by the transfer of knowledge, and that's what we're doing today. The challenge with the transfer of knowledge in an oral tradition, because I'm also an Ayurvedic doctor, is we're relying on our historical memory to do that. So we're transferring knowledge person to person, generation to generation, and things get lost along the way. So sometimes we pause and then we think, oh, well, what did Atul really say? Now, oh, wait, we have the same haircut, right? So, but in another week, I will maybe be a little jealous because his hair will grow a little bit different than mine. So we have this oral tradition of transfer of knowledge. So then we get to the written stage of knowledge where we start to write things down, but even that becomes debatable. In the world of AI and smarter, we're going to call smarter leadership, we have to remember that it's what we write, but also who we are writing to. Does that make sense? So who's the audience for our transmission? And today we're in the instructional design space and in the human performance space. So it's important to understand that we are bringing something to the table. We're bringing something from each other. But what are the questions that we're trying to answer or to help people solve? And that's really what we're doing here today. So AI, we're just going to talk about AI for a moment and this smarter leadership, which we're going to move into a different presentation here in a moment. Right now, we're drawing on a vast library in AI of really the internet. But the internet is only basically people's searches over the last 20 years. So what we're looking at when we look at AI and this smarter leadership is a library. So we have this very interesting image here from books to technology. But when you look at the library, it's only the recorded history of people that have searched for an answer to a question. So we have to remember that when we're being smarter and looking into, in this case, AI and smarter leadership, what we're reading is a historical account of what other people thought before us. Does that make sense? But it may not be true. And I'm just going to pause there to let you think about that for a moment. So when you ask ChatGPT a question, or Claude, or any of the other AI models, what they're doing is they're reciting to you a record of what other people thought. Does that make sense?
That's true.
Yes. I'm a very big fan of ChatGPT, but what I've also noticed with ChatGPT is, I call him a he because I call him Chad, so that's my name for ChatGPT, is he will give me exactly what I want. And he will literally glorify what he's giving me and ask me if I want more. So what he's basically doing with me is enticing me to ask more questions because he's learning from me. But as the recipient of this vast amount of knowledge, it sometimes feels like, oh, well, it feels good. Like, oh, wow, I'm asking very important questions. And this AI is responding to me in a way that makes me feel like that I'm smart, right? So he's basically teasing me to believe that what I'm hearing from him is actually true, which it may not be. So that's the really important thing about what you do in instructional design is we have to remember that there's a person that has a problem that they're trying to solve, and they're going to reach out to someone that can help them solve the problem. But the solution may not be what's directly in front of you. So I'm going to stop sharing these slides and move to another deck as soon as I move all of them out of the way. Excuse me.
John, learn something today in this lecture.
Okay, so we're going to go into this what I call the smarter castle. So this is a model that was developed. It was originally called the Human Performance Architecture Framework. The original question was, working with Marines, the United States Marine Corps, is, okay, well, where do the Marines go for help? And who do they go for help? So that was the big question. So we spent 2 years working on one question, because our responsibility then was to help them basically do their work through human performance and technology. But it was a big question. So are they going to go? They're going to turn to basically a workbook on their computer, or are they going to go to another person? So this whole thing was one question: who's who? And that who's who in the relationship became something called the Human Performance Architecture Framework, and then later became this Smarter Castle, which is actually the castle that I lived in front of for the last 3 years in the oldest city in all of Europe, Matera. So Smarter actually stands for strengths, meaning accountability, relationships, and trust. So that's really what we're seeing here on the screen now. It's a castle, but in the castle is a temple, which is you. And those are your strengths. So if you're familiar with emergenetics, we have 7 ways of thinking and behaving, these attributes that define really an individual, but an individual in relationship with other people. And these are our strengths, the things that have been gifted to us. So I happen to be an analytical thinker, as is Atul and as is Dr. Pavi. So we all happen to have this one attribute in common, which is the ability to see things for what they are from a very direct and non-judgmental perspective. We also share another attribute, which is conceptual thinking, which is the ideas of the world. So we share this analytical and big ideas of the world perspective. So that makes our thinking very abstract. Now, in the world of instructional design, we're also very concrete. So thinking about people and places, so things you can touch. But for us, it's an abstract idea. But those are our strengths. And those strengths are basically the center tower of this model called SMARTER. So our strengths are the things that make us uniquely human. Our accountability, that's part of this central tower, if you will, is our accountability to ourselves and the people that we're in relationship with. So that's basically the center of this particular model. Now, when I worked with the Marine Corps, this is, again, we were speaking about people trying to accomplish a mission. In their case, the mission is sometimes a peacekeeping mission, sometimes not. But they can't do anything without the relationships of other people. So if we look at this particular model, in the center are my strengths. So I'm an abstract thinker, as is Atul, as is Dr. Patty. Many of us are not, though. We're more concrete thinkers. We're thinking about what's next and what does this mean and why am I even listening to this? In that case, we move beyond the central tower into the outer towers, which are our relationships. And God bless Dr. Rob Cross, who's I'm a big fan of. He basically is the person that helped us define social and organizational networks. So that was really the big aha moment with this particular model was, well, a Marine, in this case in the past, is not alone. He or she does whatever they do in relationship with other people. So those are these towers on the outside. So maybe you'll appreciate this from your heritage. This particular model, also, if I look at the strengths and accountability, I have another drawing of this particular model, which actually has the chakras listed. So even the emergenetics model basically carries the 7 chakras in its design. So if I am in the center and I have my 7 chakras aligned, now if I reach out to the left, because you could basically put yourself in this castle, the left is the receiving side for the masculine, and the right is the giving side. So on the left in this particular model, if you are on the model, are the people that come to you, your inbound relationships. So these are the people that are coming to you for something. So today I happen to be in the center of this model, and everyone else here on the call is on the left, and they're coming for maybe an answer. On the right side are the relationships that are outbound. So in this particular model, if you just look at it, it's on the right, but you have to imagine that you are this castle. So the people on the left are coming to you with a question. They want something from you. And this whole side of this particular model is about receiving and impact. So this is, we'll speak to Dr. Phillips' work, is on this particular side, which I'm right now, we have relational impact and relational networks. So this is how I connect with other people that are coming to me with a question, and my impact on them either today or in the future. So this is my relational impact. This is what I would call your eulogy network. So it is your eulogy, the things that people will say about you when you're gone. If we move to the other side, these are people that I go to. This is my outbound network. So these are people that I trust, that I will refer to, and that are giving me something that I need. And this is actually where my work happens to be. So this is the most interesting thing about this particular model, especially for those of us in instruction and design, is we think about people and their work and performance improvement as if it's the only gateway into their life. So most of us think about each other in terms of how we define their work. That's actually what's happening here. But if you think about the whole person and the relationships, the work itself, the actual action, is only one of the components of this particular model. So it's the smallest component. And you think about this for a moment. Most of us, in my experience, at least, again, we're trying to do our work. We're in a workplace. But most of our work is either going to be supported or blocked by other people. And I used to say this all the time because I work, again, for the Marine Corps, that the Marines themselves felt safer with each other than we did in a conference room in Quantico, Virginia. Because we were so focused on one box of this particular model that we forgot that we were in relationship with other people. And to get anything done, we have to do it together because none of us are alone. So in the past, we were. So if we go back to the other slides before AI, I'm a woodworker, let's say, or a carpenter or a bricklayer, and I'm working to build a house. That's my individual effort. But today it's not like that anymore. And this is the very big idea that we should maybe all consider is, and also with IFTDO, none of us really is an island. We're not islands. We're people in relationship with other people. And that's what this whole model really is here to describe, is when we can understand that what we do is in relationship with other people, then we can understand how to work together in collaboration. And collaboration is not something that we learn. And really, as people these days, we don't learn much about being human at all. Now we learn about technology, but we don't learn about being human. So even this program, it took me a while to figure out how to log in. So Patty called me, and I'm like scrambling on my hotspot because I'm in a place that doesn't have internet, and there was a tool, and all the other people that introduced me, and then all of you. So it's right now there's several hundred people in this space right now, and we're doing something together. And that's really what this model is here. What I'm really here to talk about is we're doing things together, and without doing something together, nothing will happen. So even think about, we're on Zoom right now. How many people do you think right now are supporting this particular discussion? Thousands. So there are thousands of people that basically put together the Zoom platform and brought us all together, and you're across a very large country. And I'm sitting in front of the sea in a little village in South Italy, where it's called the Monte Sant'Angelo. It's the mountain of the angel saint. So I'm sitting in this very obscure place in a very obscure country in a very obscure mountain where pilgrims come pouring in every day. Thousands of people come here on pilgrimage. And now we're on Zoom. So that network of people are what brings these things, makes these things possible. But they're all kind of outlined in this little simple model of what I, again, call this smarter castle. But the work itself is one particular box. It's the actions that I'm doing. The things that I'm doing right now is my work. But my work would not exist without all of you, my in and outbound relationships. At the basically the foundation of all of our work, of all of what we do, are people we trust, our accountability to ourselves and others, and how we find meaning in what we're doing. So for me, and with IFTDO and with Dr. Patty and Atul, it really was about, well, how can I show up to support another person in a way that's going to help them? And that's really what this meaning part is about, which is on the bottom right of this particular model. If it doesn't mean anything to me, then it's not worth my time or my strengths, which are in the center. So if we step back from the model and think about a person, especially in the instructional space, is human beings are designed to contribute something meaningful in the world. If they're not contributing something meaningful in the world, it makes us feel diminished. And this is a very true thing in Ayurvedic medicine, in yoga, and in our chakras. If we are not using the things that we've been gifted, we feel diminished. And these days, within the world of AI, which we could go back to the slides, people feel enabled, right? Because I can ask ChatGPT anything, and he or it will tell me what I want to hear. But does that really make me feel that I've accomplished something? So accomplished performance, which is something that is central to human performance, instructional design, is a person accomplishing something that's worth something, which speaks to Dr. Patty's work. Is it valuable? And if it's not valuable, then I feel like I'm wasting my time, or that it's not important enough to even do. And that's really where we cross this line into mental health. So as a human being, I'm again in the center of this particular model. And I want to know that I'm doing things that are going to be important to me. So in the center of this particular model, we have our strengths, diversity, and our gifted, I would just call them talents. These are things that you're kind of born with and you learn as you grow. I call this a temple virtue because in the center of this particular model is this idea that we're, again, in relationship with other people, but we're bringing our individual talents or strengths to the table. If we're not bringing those strengths to the table, we feel diminished. And can we agree on that?
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you. So we feel a little bit diminished if we're not bringing our strengths to the table. So especially in the instructional design space and in the your fantastic program. We have to remember there's actually a human on the other side in relationship with other people. And they're bringing their individual strengths. And this is, I have another slide deck on this, is you are so unique that it's impossible that anyone else in the whole world has your exact set of strengths. Like statistically, it is impossible. It's like one in not even trillions, like the number is like to the 57th power impossible that someone else has the same strengths that you do. It's basically your DNA. So that's what we see in the center tower. But let me ask you a question, and this is really important, especially in this instructional space, is, okay, who are you? Then we could use the chat here for this. What makes you feel proud? So if you want to put this in the chat, these are prompts for this particular model, which was actually designed as originally a worksheet to understand people in the relationship with other people and how they accomplish their work. But what's something that you're proud of? And you can just put that in the chat. And I'm going to also ask you, in the last year, how many peak performance opportunities have you had? How many opportunities have you had in your work or in your life to say, wow, this was incredible? So how many peak performances have you witnessed in your own life in the last year? And what are you the most proud of? So if you want to put that in the chat, that would be incredible. When I mentioned I worked for the Marine Corps, and I can think of, I worked there for 10 years. I had 5 peak experiences, as I would call them. And I reflect on that now, and I think 5 in 10 years. Like, shouldn't it be every day that we have this peak experience? Like right now, this is a peak experience for me, being with you. It's like, wow, this is like really cool. In the morning when the sun comes up, I will look out this window and I will see the sea and I'll say, wow, this is really incredible. Or I met a group of people yesterday that were on pilgrimage, and I had the opportunity to go to this very ancient monastery. And it was a peak experience for me because I was at this same place earlier this week with someone that didn't know anything about this monastery. But yesterday I went with someone from Peru and myself on a private tour. And it was incredible because the person showed us things that only an experienced person could share. So in that particular peak experience for me, which is in this center tower, something I'm actually proud of, was having a relationship with someone that had a relationship with someone that would show me something that I would never have seen before. And this is also important from an instructional design perspective, is most of us take for granted the things that we know. So if I'm trying to transmit this knowledge to another person, I assume that they know many things that we know some of the same things. So anyway, I'm in this ancient cathedral and monastery with this person, and he said, "Oh, look at this!" And there was basically carved into the stone a line that was this long. He said, "This represents, it's 1 meter long," and he said, "This represents basically your human body." So we think about this model as a human being. He said, if you stand there and put your arm out, you'll see that your arm is 1 meter long. And I thought it was kind of a joke, and he's speaking in Italian, and I half understand him. But he put his arm on this particular line, and it was 1 meter. And then he's a little bit shorter than I am. He has hair like a Tulane, and I put my arm on this particular line, and it was the same. And I thought, oh, that should be impossible. How do we have basically the same length of an arm when he's shorter than I am. And then our friend that was with us from Peru, she did the same thing, and her arm happened to be the same length. And I said, "Oh, wow, that's really kind of curious." But if it wasn't for his transmission from his strengths of this particular model, I would never even known that line existed. So that's really our big opportunity here. So let's just think about what we're proud of. What are you the most proud of? What are maybe one or two things that have happened in this year that make you feel this is incredible? And put that in the chat. And
Several answers have come, Peter. I think you must have missed them, but we've got time till 11 a.m. That's 20 minutes from now. Huh? Continue.
Yes. Let me go back to this and move the chat out of the way. And if anyone would like to share something that they're proud of in this moment, please, open up your microphone and share.
I like to throw some lights over here. If we are really talking about the strength, one of the experience I can recall about that, it was on one fine day I was been marked that please kindly address a crowd of around 2000 people. I never did it before, but I had some acquaintances in my school days. So I thought let's take this and have an honor to understand whether I have same gist or not. And it was supposed to be a pretty long session kind of stuff, and people were already bored enough with other things. But after the session, people were actually laughing, howling, because I love interacting with the people while I'm speaking. So I guess that is one of the key strengths which I feel that, in fact, now you also, Peter, you're listening to me. I guess there's something it is one of my strength to make people in that moment.
And thank you for that. And I will say that I taught college for 15 years, and it was really pretty amazing. But the best courses that I had were in person, when we just did what we just did right now. We shared something together that was important to us. So I'll just share something about myself here, which is you could say it's a little bit vulnerable. But again, if we think about this central tower and other people, so we're all coming, we want to do something, right? Human beings we're designed to accomplish something and for it to feel valuable. So when I mentioned these peak performances that you just also shared, it's what drives us to do great things. But if I'm not using my strengths, the central tower, then I feel diminished or small or depressed or anxious. So really, for me, this is the most important part is, we'll just talk about this from a mental health perspective, is human beings are designed to do things. Right? We weren't designed to sit and passively and watch other people do things. We were designed to do things. The challenge with, well, say AI in this particular model is it does things for us, which makes us feel like we're accomplishing things, but it also makes us feel like uneasy, because we want to build the temple, we want to build a castle, we want to do these things in relationship with other people, and this thing will help us and it makes us feel good. But does it really make us feel important? Does it make us feel proud, basically? So anyway, the central tower is about the things that make me feel good about myself in relationship with other people. And that's really what this relational impact box is about. So if we think about this, so if you think about the people that are coming to you, we'll just pull one question out of this. How do your inbound relationships make you feel? And this is the people that are coming to you. So you're the people on this right side of this on the paper, but it's really your receiving side, which is your left. How do you feel, or how do these people make you feel? So then you can put this in the chat too. Does it make you feel important, or that you're using your strength? So this is a funny story. So I'm in, again, South Italy. I have a very good friend that has a cafe here, and this happens in pretty much anywhere I go. But people will line up for me just to do the pulse, right? So I'm studied Ayurvedic medicine for a very long time. So they'll line up so that I can take their pulse. And for me, that's like very interesting, but also very curious. And I'll share things with them like, oh, well, you have some back pain, you don't sleep very well, and you have a problem with your feet. And they're like, oh, how did you know? I said, well, I don't know. You told me, but it was in your pulse. So anyway, that makes me feel useful in that relationship because I'm trying to help someone and they happen to ask for the help. So you think about this whole side of the model, or these are the people that are coming to you in relationship. So like in your whole network, in ISTD, all of these people are coming to you, and do you have the answer to their problem? Right? And that's what's happening here. And if you do, how does that make you feel? So think about these relationships that you have and the people that are coming to you. How does that make you feel? And then pause on that for a moment. Now, if we go to the other side of this particular model, move over here. Think about the people that you go to. And we'll just pull one question out of this. Who can you count on? These questions really come from Rob Cross. Who can you count on to challenge you? That will basically sit in front of you and look you in the eye and ask you a question that maybe you can't answer. Now, it seems easy these days with ChatGPT because it will answer it for you. But Chad is a little bit of a liar. So that's the danger with we go back to the slide deck with AI is it's going to tell you exactly what it knows. Or it will hallucinate because they found this many, many times in research. It will hallucinate an answer to make you believe that it's true. And if any of you have used any of the AI models to do research, so I always ask it, I say, okay, I want APA references. So they will give me all these references. But if you basically click on the link for the I think it's DOI, most of them don't work because it's hallucinating an answer that you want to see. So it's giving me the research that I want, right? It's giving me all the references, but half of those references don't even exist. And actually, there was a recent study, and I think it was McKinsey did a project, and I forget who the customer was. They charged millions and millions of dollars for this project, but the references that they gave didn't exist. So basically, they just took what ChatGPT said and gave it to their client, charged them millions and millions of dollars, but the research didn't exist. So think about this for yourself. who can you count on to actually challenge you? It's not going to be ChatGPT. It's going to be a tool, or Dr. Phillips, or Dr. Gautam. And for those of us and I think that all of you know Dr. Gautam, in his own way, he challenges us to think. So you have to, if you're going to be in a meeting with Dr. Gautam, you come prepared because you know that he's going to challenge you in a way that you didn't expect. Anyway, that's what's happening on this particular side of this smarter model, are the relationships that are outbound, the people that we're going to. And they're super important. But this is where trust comes in, which is this bottom part of the model. It's like, this is the place where I feel the most comfortable, and I feel the most comfortable in relationship with other people. And that's this particular trust part of this model. And I'll pause there. So this whole model really: strengths, meaning, accountability, relationships, trust, my eulogy, the things that I'm going to leave behind, and my resume, which is actually the work that I do. So if we think about this from return on investment or instructional design perspective, generally we're helping people to do something in their workplace. The work, the worker, and basically the world, which is just one particular box of this model. But all of the other parts of this what I call castle, matter too, because I'm, again, not an island. I'm doing anything in relationship with other people. And right, I mentioned before, just to do this call, it took thousands of people to create the technology that allows us to be in this room together. So when we think about the enormity of that in relationship with other people, then we say, oh, wow, how can I help this person that's in front of me feel that what they're doing is worthwhile? Because otherwise it's not worthwhile. It doesn't feel good. Because human beings are built to be builders, not. I have this really interesting model, which is called basically the tourist. I'm a tourist. This is actually kind of funny. If I'm a tourist in my own life, which is what's happening to humanity these days with technology, then everything is a picture. Everything's just a picture, and I'm moving through my life in picture. Or I'm a pilgrim, which means that I'm interested in something, which is what we're really doing in instructional design. We're helping people become interested in their own learning and development. So I'm moving from a tourist, which is just basically taking selfies, to a pilgrim, which is someone that's interested in their life, to a disciple, which is someone that's not only interested in their life, they believe in something. So this is what we do in instructional design, is we're building believers in this case, usually in themselves, which is really what this whole model is about. Is I'm now believing in my own strengths, regardless of what maybe other people see in me. So these are my individual strengths, which is the center part of this tower. So this is the disciple part, is like, oh, I'm not a passenger in my life. I am my life. To what I would call a builder, which is someone that does what we all do and what you do, is to help other people see that, to share that with other people. So then they become a builder. So a builder of other people in their own, we'll just call it castle. So one of the most interesting things about this particular model is this has existed for, took me, if you can believe this, 20 years to make this particular set of boxes.
Mr. Peter, can we see each of these pillars a little briefly? Just
yes, of course. So it's called Smarter. So, and I didn't think I was annotating here, but the central tower are your strengths. This is who you are as a person. So strengths And the other part of the central tower is your accountability. This is your responsibility. This is one of the things that's really interesting for us
A
as
little
people.
zoom into that, Mr. Peter, if you can.
See. Yes. So, what makes me who I am? How do I most feel the most alive? And how do I take care of myself? This is really the central part of this tower. Me and my strengths and my accountability for myself and the people that I'm in direct relationship with. And who is in my circle? This again goes back to Rob Cross, that supports me. And that's really what this central tower is about. It's me and my strengths and my accountability for really myself. So that's really the center. If I move again to and this is actually a really helpful thing. I've used this many, many times with people, to just sit down and ask another person these questions. And I did this in this one particular group a few years ago. And this woman said, "Oh, I've worked with this guy for 15 years. And I didn't even know that he had grandchildren," for example. So, and he was very proud to be a grandfather. And it came from asking a simple question: what are you the most proud of? And that person said, "Well, my grandchildren." And that changed the relationship. And it was one question in a workshop that opened up a doorway for collaboration, and which is really what is happening on the outside, our inbound relationships, the people that are coming to you. So, who benefits from your work? Who are some of your most important customers? And who else could benefit from your work? So that's this side of this model. If and this, none of this is actually in order, on purpose, because it makes us think. And then if I look at the outbound relationships that I have, which relationships are the most meaningful to you? Who provides you with information or resources? And right now you can look at this from ChatGPT or any other AI models. They're providing you information, but do the conditions exist for you to trust that information? And what would have to exist for you to trust that information? From, in this case, we're speaking about people. So this is the trust part of this particular model. Do I believe what you're saying? And if I do, what were the conditions that had to exist for me to believe this to be true? And in an instructional design perspective, we're sitting in a bit of an authority position. So people will reference trust, maybe for your program, for example. So because your program has existed for a long time and you've had, what, I think you're in your 100-something cohort, that is a reference to trust because they believe you. And then we have this reference trust from, IFTDO, for example. So why should you believe me? Well, because Atul thinks you should, or he invited me to present. But in reality, we should sit with these questions for a little bit of time. So I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. So I'm going to rely on Chad for something. But do I really trust what Chad is saying? And as a person, you have to say no. Is Chad making me smarter? Probably not. It's probably making me dumber. But I can guarantee you that Dr. Gautam will make you smarter because he's going to hold you accountable and ask you questions that you weren't prepared to answer. So that's really this accountability box here. Relational impact, it's like, what impact do I have on the people that are coming to me? And how would I describe those relationships? So how do I describe them? And how are we actually connected? Right now, we're connected on Zoom. But you can all email me later and I will respond. It may not be today, but I will respond to you because this is, for me, that happens to be important. So this is our relational network. I have many years of experience doing many, many different things. So these are my skills and expertise. But none of it matters if I don't do something and if it doesn't feel good to me. So what energizes me? What energizes you? What do you love to do? What are some things that are very important to you that maybe you didn't even know were important to you? And you can put those in the chat too. This week, I found many things that were important to me, which I didn't even the week before, or actually for the last 20 years, didn't realize that they were important to me. But they became important to me because I was in relationship with other people that showed me, for example, I mentioned this ancient place that I was in yesterday, because someone showed me that my arm was the same like as his. Like that was like blew my mind. It was one obscure idea in a place that's existed for, that particular place was built in the 3rd century. And it was a new idea for me. And it felt good. And the person that shared this with me, it made him feel good. And that was really the most important thing. I felt good learning it, but he felt good sharing it. And it was just kind of an inside joke. He said, we're only here for 2 hours. I could talk about this place for weeks to help you really try to understand basically the enormity of this experience. So am I in my own life, in my own castle as a tourist, or am I in my own life as a pilgrim, disciple, or builder? And I think we're all in this game right now that we're in today as builders. So you are builders. You're building other people. You're sharing things. The tool is a master builder, building relationships, building other people, making connections across the globe, because he believes, and I'm speaking for you right now, Atul, you correct me if I'm wrong. He believes that what we're doing right now is important. And he believes it so much that he wants you to believe it. He wants you to believe in yourself. He wants you to believe in your strengths. He wants you to help other people see the magic in themselves. And that's why I believe Atul does what he does. And that's why Dr. Patty is up at, what is it, like 1 a.m. there, or maybe it's even earlier, is because we believe in you. And we believe that what we're doing through IFTDO, or my case, Maniamo, or Dr. Patty's work, ROI Institute, we believe in you so much that we want you to believe in yourself and believe that you can do something that no one else can do. And ChatGPT can't do it. Your children can't do it. You can do it. But we can only do it together. And that's really what this whole thing is about, is we're smarter together.
Great,
So,
Peter. One zoom on the meaning, because we have got a couple of minutes to go. On the meaning, I think we missed out. Yes. So I got a message.
Yes. So, yes, what matters most to you? What are some things that are non-negotiable? This is really something that's so important to think about. What are things that are like you're absolutely must have regardless? So, and then what do you want to do next? What are the things that are going to drive you to make you get up in the morning, to do something better, to be something better? And often this is because it's on this particular side of the model, it's because of other people. So, like going to the gym. Why am I going to the gym? Well, I'm going to the gym for myself. But for most people, if you really ask them basically the 5 whys, 5 why, It's because I want to be able to pick up my grandchild when I'm 80 years old. That's why they're going to the gym when they're 30. But they'll tell you that in the moment, that's not why they're doing it. But if you dig deep enough, you'll find out why. And what we do from an instructional perspective, like, why does anyone care about all this? Well, because I want to be better. But why do I want to be better? Because it means something to me, right? So this is the whole meaning part of this particular model is, and as in the instructional space is, well, how do we tap into that? Because right now this whole thing is about people's energy, right? And things that are going to make me feel good enough to be energized. So that's what we're trying to do
Wonderful.
here, is
Great,
understand
Peter.
that.
Wonderful insight on the castle. Nivdita, have you got time for a couple of questions? We have to wind up by 11:15. Some of the students have also got to join the talk. Nivdita, madam, are you there?
I think we can take a couple of questions for
One
sure.
quick question and
because
quick answers. Dr. Gautam.
Oh, there's Dr. Gautam. There's Dr. Gautam. Hi, Dr. Gautam.
He's out there to challenge you.
Yes. Dr. Vijay Fate, with your question, please keep it brief.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Peter, I would like to ask you what style of leadership your model is proposing and in which particular situation this will be more beneficial.
Well, that's really a deep question. So my particular model of leadership is, again, it's basically in the name of Umaniyama. We're human together, not at all. So leadership in its most basic form is really about helping people be their best. Right? So that's the essence of what leadership is. I see something in you that you don't see in yourself. So you can call that humanistic leadership. The challenge that we have is when we think of leadership as hierarchy, which is not true. The hierarchy doesn't exist in nature. We pretend that it does, but it doesn't. True leadership is helping people see something in themselves that they didn't see when they look in the mirror. So that would be my perspective on
Peter,
that.
it need to be applicable, no? It need to be applicable somewhere in.
Well, it is applicable when you realize that the person that you're sitting with is not a single person. They're a person in relationship with other people. So the primary goal of a leader is to see something again in a person that they don't see in themselves. And that's what we're trying to bring out in people. And that's what this whole model is about, is realizing that there are people in relationship with other people, and there are things that that particular person is going to be energized by, which generally is who they are, that is going to be different from another person. So we can look at this from a cognitive agility perspective and say, well, how do I tap into you and make you feel good about yourself in a way that will help you inspire other people? So from a leadership perspective, it's realizing that there's a person in front of you that has a particular challenge or opportunity. And my whole job is really to help you achieve what you're looking for.
So it is about the servant leadership, Peter.
Janet from Nigeria for joining us. Last question, Nivjita.
We'll take only one more question. Dr. Vinayshil Gautam, please.
Hi, Dr. Gautam.
Doctor, you have to unmute. Dr. Gautam, you have to unmute.
And behind me are pictures from I'm just in an Airbnb, but this is from this ancient city where I'm sitting that is
Dr.
2,400
Gautam.
feet.
I think finally Aristotle has found a successor. Aristotle had talked of man being a social animal, and you have done a brilliant job by linking up the basic strengths of an individual to a social manifestation of that individual, and I found it totally scintillating. I come in not to repeat my compliments for you, which I have done often, and I'm sure there'll be many more occasions to do so in the future, but to mention two things. We have to recognize that Atul, in his endeavor to set up this series has perhaps responded to something which has come forth in the New Testament of the Bible. A prophet goes unhonored in his own home. We have
Yes.
started honoring amongst ourselves those who can think and those who can lead. And that, I think, is a major contribution. I think Atul's contribution will be gratefully acknowledged in years to come, putting together people and ideas. My happily teppany contribution to the thought process is simple. We have to realize that we are individuals, but we are individuals because others exist.
Yes.
Therefore, to be ourselves, we need others. So there is this interdependency, which I think Peter has done a brilliant job in underscoring as a philosophy, as an action plan. And therefore, I could only conclude with what is said in Sanskrit so well, Atma Deepo Bhava, be a light unto yourself. And if you are light unto yourself, you light others' paths, and together we achieve. Congratulations, Peter, for doing something which was absolutely scintillating. This work needs to be carried on forward. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Nirjana madam, can we have a group photograph? Everybody,
Yes,
videos
yes,
on and
please.
with a thumbs
Videos
up,
on,
please,
please.
quickly, because
Videos on.
few
Thank you,
people.
Dr. Gautam. That is so brilliant, and
This is the
and
moment
it's
that
so
Arthur
true.
will always
Oh,
insist
hi,
on
Roy.
video. Yeah, I got to
So,
put myself in a good position, you know.
we've got people, thank you,
Also,
people from
maybe.
across the IFTDO board. We have Mr. Roy, we have Janet, we have, of course, Madam Patty, who's leading our team. Several people we had Let's Pickett joining us here. We had senior members of our National Council, chairpersons of our various chapters. We had several of our PGP associates here. Dr. Gautam over here. We thank everybody. A thumbs up, please, everybody. Mr. Gurvinder, make sure we get our photographs. Everybody nice and an optimistic. You're taking us to the castle, no? Cosiamo, this castle is in Italy, no? You got a live.
This castle is yes, the castle is in Italy. It's in Matera, Italy. The ironic thing about the castle is this model existed well before I met the castle. And then one day I walked by the castle and I said, why does this castle remind me of this human performance architecture framework? And it just became the Smarter Castle. So these are actually lived experiences that brought this together. These are lived experiences with Marines, lived experiences in hospitals, lived experiences with people like all of us to say, oh, wow, you're all like kind of cool. And we're all on camera right now together. And I'm looking at you and you're looking at me. I'm in an obscure place in South Italy, but you're all over the world. And it's like, wow. And you're on Sunday morning here for this, basically for breakfast. And for me, this is a great honor. And Dr. Gautam, thank you so much. Dr. Patty Atul, because
Thank you. Nice to
again,
have people from across. We have Dr. Naipal Singh from Noida. I mean, all the who's who around. Final word, Nirjana madam, vote of thanks. We just have quick time for that.
Thank you, everybody, members of ISTD, members of IFTDO, all the members who deemed it, the right time for ISTD to be doing this for all the members around the country and the world. And thank you, Atul, for making the world so small. I can understand why castles are so big, because they were made so that Peter could make his model after them. And I think we are a huge society where so much original thought exists, and we need to give a platform for these original thoughts. So thank you to Atul. Thank you for the Delhi office for being so supportive. Thank you for all the office bearers, all the chapters and all the regions. Thank you so much for taking time out on a Sunday morning. And best of all, it's good evening for some and it's good morning for some, but it's a good day for everybody.
everybody.
Nice.
So